Today, my guest is Josue Pena. Josue, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Here in Miami, beautiful weather. It's amazing. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm in Orlando. It's pretty hot.
I mean, I like hot. So,
I like hot too. It looks like you got a nice little pool or something outside. Perfect weather for that.
yeah, of course.
For those of you that don't know, he was raised in the Dominican Republic. He saw an opportunity in social media to break the norm in a country where there's very little progress. After 4 to 5 years of trying to do things his own way and failing completely, he decided to take a more engineer and analytical approach to social media, and that's when everything clicked. He developed a simple 4-step process to have your Instagram blow up, which we'll talk about. Since then, he has grown to over 6 million followers and multiple accounts across multiple niches and languages in little over a year, and has generated $1.5 million in 2018 alone. Been featured and interviewed for different magazines, podcasts, and promoted by Grant Cardone. He's helped other celebrities and big-name entrepreneurs like Russell Brunson, Alex Becker, Anthony Morrison, and many more, all coming from the underdog, poor, third-world country where English is not even his first language. Pretty incredible, and we're going to dive all into that. But let's take a gigantic step back. Talk to me a little bit about growing up, about how you got into this. What was your first entrepreneurial endeavor and all that? Tell me your story.
By the way, I should probably update that bio because now it's 15 million followers and over $3 million, but whatever. So I got started into business, and it was like, I think it's like, it was a mistake because I wanted to become a professional soccer player and use social media to fuel that passion. So I grew up in DR, lived my entire life. I'm 26 right now, lived over there until I was like 21, 22. So it's like my entire life over there, right? And basically what I saw was like I was never going to be able to reach like a professional level on soccer where I wanted to if I didn't put myself out there because nobody was going to come looking for me in DR. So I used social media for that. That was started in 2011, 2012. And 4 or 5 years without having any success whatsoever, without making a single penny. In 2016, I decided to take a loan for $2,000 to buy a course. Bought the course, that got me started. I started reading books, like my mentality kind of shifted. And then I started growing like my Instagram page back then. Well, still right now, it's called Elation Football. Today has over 100,000 followers. And then I actually got the chance to become a pro because of that. And then I realized that the life of a player sucks. Unless you're like Messi or Ronaldo or like somebody that just makes millions of dollars playing soccer, more than likely your life is gonna stink because you have to do a lot of sacrifices. You're not making a lot of money. You're just a piece in the machine that they can just take out. If you get injured, you're screwed. So it was a lot of things happening at the same time, and that at that time I decided, you know what, I made it. I did not quit. I did what I said I was gonna do, and got the chance to be a pro. I quote unquote accomplished my dream. Now it's time to pivot and focus on something that's long term. So that's where I decided to go all in on social media and online business. And that was in summer, 2016. And then since then I've been doing what I do today. And there's been ups and downs. And last year was the year kind of like the big peak year where everything just completely exploded. Yeah.
So why Instagram? I mean, you are the Instagram guy. I think when a lot of people think of Instagram, they look towards you. There's so many people out there doing Facebook ads or all these different things. Why Instagram?
It's different. So Instagram, I think, is like that ugly girl in high school that nobody wanted to date, nobody wanted to be with before, right? So back in 2016, people were dabbling here and there. 2017, people were like, I knew Instagram was like kind of like just blowing up like crazy. And I saw it. So I was like, this is the place to be. But people were like, oh no, blah, blah, blah. So I was like that kid that was willing to date this ugly girl in high school. Now Instagram is like, everybody's all about Instagram. Like people like Facebook is going down. Like people are like, oh, Instagram. Like now the ugly girl in high school went to college and she's hot now. But she's not about to date anyone because everybody know her. So nobody understands Instagram, or very few people actually understands how to make money on Instagram, how to grow the platform and stuff like that. And because I've been in the game since 2011, I've seen every single possible algorithm change, and I understand the platform fairly well. And yeah, that's what we do.
So what's working in 2019 that maybe people aren't aware of?
So it's really the same thing that worked since the beginning. People are really complicated. People think that I feel that people look for that silver bullet. They think that just like one silver bullet is going to save like everything, when in reality it's not. Like that's not how it works. It's a machine. Like it's different pieces that work together to move the needle forward. So what I would say is like right now there's two different variables that will always work no matter the platform: is content and distribution. So if you're able to nail those two things down, you will win. And when I mean content, I mean like content that your people want to watch, like your audience, not you. Your audience wants to watch. Your audience finds valuable. That is the message on it is right. That is in line with making like the monetization aspect. Because like most people are like, oh, I can grow a big following. All right, can you actually make money with it? I'm like, no. So that is in line with actually monetization on your page as well. And then after that, you have that nailed down, then it becomes just, hey, how much people can I put this in front of? And then it becomes a distribution play. So it becomes fairly simple after that. So, but the main part is like understanding who you're talking to with a simple market research, just seeing what other influencers are doing, modeling success. If they're posting a picture with, I don't know, on a beautiful beach or whatever, and you're a traveler, you should probably do the same thing in your own style, right? So it's as simple as that. Or let's say you don't want to be in front of the camera and you just want to build a big fitness page or a community page, you can build it with just resharing other people's content and just tagging the original creator. So it doesn't matter if you want to build a personal brand or you want to be behind the scenes and you want to have a big following like that. You can do it either or. So that's why I like Instagram.
I think content is one of those things that scares people away. It's a commitment. It's something you constantly have to be doing. And you mentioned kind of two ways to go about it: creating your own or using other people. How do you create a good, solid content plan? How do you constantly come out with new content? I mean, I follow you on social media. I see you're constantly coming out with videos and different crazy ideas. How does the average person or the average business owner do that consistently?
So, okay, I honestly, for me, I just wing it. I feel like I have a very good intuition on what should work and what doesn't. But like for the average person, typically, for example, just see what other people are doing. Like I always say, like, do not try to reinvent the wheel and don't overthink it. Like just see what other people are doing. Like, for example, let's say like one of our clients, Station Capital or Dan Locke or Kevin David, like if you're in the entrepreneurship space, like, or me, right? Like see what we're doing and just model it in your own way. If you want to build a quote page in the relationship niche, see what other quote pages are out there, see what they're putting out, and just model that. Like, it's not overly complicated. It's just about knowing what other people are doing and just doing it yourself. Like, simple as that. And like adding your own little twist to it. I think it was Da Vinci who said, "Great artists steal." Like there's not a single piece of content or art out there that has not been quote unquote stolen or gotten inspiration from something else or someone else. So like today we don't live in an original world. We live in a world that just is all about resharing and repackaging content and information.
You mentioned you wing it. Do you have any story or example of a piece of content that you really just put out there and it kind of blew up and exceeded your expectations?
Yeah, so actually, 24 hours ago, I posted a story. Well, it was like completely unrelated to business. I'm like, oh, kind of. So I was like posting, I saw this article from CNN where basically said Jay-Z and Beyonce, how they, as a couple, like they were worth like a couple $100 million before, now they're worth billions when they're together. So I'm like, I just posted that. I'm like, hey, let's start a debate. Like, do you think being a relationship helps you in your entrepreneurship journey, like helps you be more successful? And people are like, we're voting yes or no. Like I was giving my own opinion. And it was just like late at night. I was just, ideally you don't want to do this because it was just like images and text on Instagram stories. On Instagram stories, you want to put more videos, but it was an engaging topic. And then I gave my opinion on the subject. And then I called out a couple of people and basically said, here's the interesting fact. The people who voted no versus the people who voted yes. From the people who voted no, in 4 hours, at the end, like it was more, but in 4 hours when I saw the stats, it was like the net worth of the people who voted yes was 20 times higher than the people who voted no. And the reason why I know this is because I know the people who were, I see the people who were voting, and I, saw the profile, who they were, and I know for a fact there were like at least 15 to 20 multimillionaires voting yes. They're all married or had a couple or spouses or whatever, and they're like 3 that voted no. I'm like, stats don't lie. Like, so people were like kind of triggered by that. My DMs blew up. My staff is kind of overwhelmed with it. But that was a fun little, I just winged it. I was just like late at night. I was just like scrolling through my phone, brain dead. So that was.
Let's talk about your staff a little bit, and then we'll talk more about Instagram. I mean, I know you're trying FreeUp out for the first time. I asked you before how it was going with FreeUp. You said you don't even know. You have a team of VAs or your assistants that are handling that entire hiring process. And honestly, a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle to pass that responsibility off to someone else. Can you talk to me about your hiring journey of where you got to this point? I know you're looking to make some big hires over the next few months, but who was your first hire and how has your team kind of evolved, and how are you able to now delegate those tasks?
So for me, it was, last year in about March, right? We were doing about $10,000 a month. Yeah, $10,000 a month right before the ClickFunnels event. And I remember talking to Brandon Poulin, who's the CEO of Lady Boss. He's a very good friend of mine. We went on a cruise together back then, and they wanted to learn about Instagram. I was consulting with them, helping them out. And I remember like he asked me about my business. He's like, hey, how's your business? And I'm like, well, I'm struggling because I have all these things on my plate. I don't know, like I'm feeling overwhelmed, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, focus on one thing. What's your one thing? I'm like, Instagram. I'm like, why you have an e-com store and this fitness business and then this other thing, and like why you have all this stuff? I'm like, I don't know, because I'm a serial entrepreneur. And like, stop it and like focus on one thing. So that's the first thing I did. And second, he's like, hire somebody. Like the first thing, like you need to offload stuff off your plate. The emails, the responding to messages, like all that stuff, just hire somebody. The first person who I brought in was Isabella, who is from our community. I just made a post on Facebook and said, hey, right now I'm overwhelmed. We're looking for somebody to come onto our team. And it was like she was the first person, or like the only person who like I felt was qualified, that was understood what I was about and what I was doing. And that was the first person who brought on. And then like from there, we've hired some people, we have deployed some people. It's been constant like back and forth. This year, we wanted to sharpen this program with the systems and building teams and all that stuff. Since then, things have improved a lot. And then recently, we brought on a full COO. Her name is Amber. She's very experienced, and she's really high end too. So I was like used to more cheaper rates, but you can't go. You want quality talent, like you gotta pay for it. So she came in and basically she revamped the entire hiring process and redid everything. So I don't have to do anything there. So that's been beautiful. So I don't even know what happens in the hiring process, to be honest with you. I just see the amount of people that are being interviewed, the people who've been denied. There's like 100 people being denied and like one person hired. I'm like, bro, like, so, but yeah, it's been great. I don't even have to touch it. So it just runs without me even overlooking it, to be honest. So
you've been hiring about 1.5 years, 2 years. Any hiring nightmare or horror story that stood out? I know you mentioned you fired some people.
So yeah, I mean, the thing with hiring is that you hire, for example, based on necessity. So that was my thing. I'm like, oh, okay, I need a video editor. All right. So like, can you find me somebody that knows how to edit videos? And we find somebody like that just knows how to edit videos, and they're probably not a good fit. There was an issue before that. Like I was referred by a friend, somebody, and they're like, oh, like they know how to create content. I'm like, cool. We kind of need that person, but they needed the job, so I'm like trying to help them out as well. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll give them the position. They didn't have the amount of workload that they were supposed to. I'm like, all right, so like you can do whatever you want on the side as long as I'm your priority, because I'm your main thing. What ended up happening is like he started taking like multiple stuff, even though I said I wanted to be like the main focus. And it was just like horrible nightmare. He lied and he like stole from the company. It was just like it was a whole situation there. And yeah, and then he's like, he was like, oh, but I don't have internet. And then I see him freaking posting selfies on Facebook. I'm like, it was a whole situation. So yeah.
So you've got your agency, you've got your course. What are you hiring people for? Because I think a lot of people listening, they either have their own agency, their course, or their own similar business model. What are you using people for?
So right now we're using people mainly for the agency. That's I mean, it's a service-based business. So the infrastructure you need there is a lot bigger or more structured than on a course. So on the course side, we do have customer support, obviously. We have about 4 to 5 people, but they handle everything from like the customer support for the agency, customer support for the actual course, the community management, responding to emails, all that stuff is not only just the course. The course itself runs pretty much on autopilot. And I haven't been focusing too much on it. Right now, I plan to. And because it's not passive money, but is somewhat passive. And you're able to impact a lot more people that way. And also it helps fuel the agency as well. So it's like a lower tripwire to the actual agency. So that's what I hired the most for. And I mean, students have had amazing success. I get about 2 to 3 testimonials a day right now, which is absolutely mind-boggling. And like I get people like saying, look, I made $11,000 in 24 hours from one Instagram story with the framework that you showed me. I'm like, cool. I'm like, that's insane. And like other people are saying, oh, I didn't even have followers. I made $3,000 in 5 days from Instagram DMs. I'm like, so it's super awesome seeing the testimonials that people have coming through and like how fast they're growing, both with our free content and our paid content. And then the agency is amazing seeing how much clients we're taking on. Right now we're like, Pat, we need to hire fast because like we cannot handle the amount of deals that are coming in the door. We just launched, I think, like a new separate like kind of partnership and stuff like that. And like in the first, we launched it like this month or a month ago. It's already at a 7-figure run rate. So it's like there's so much stuff happening at the same time it's hard to keep up for sure. So that's why we need to hire a lot of people. So
I love it. Let's talk a little bit more about Instagram and then I'll let you go. You mentioned you have a 4-step process. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Sure thing. So the 4-step process is pretty simple and in my opinion, common sense, but common sense is not so common as for whatever reason. So the 4-step process is simple. Like first of all is market research. Second is content. Third one, consistency. And fourth one, networking. And if you nail the first one down, market research, you're able to knock all the dominoes, the other 3, very, very easily. So like I mentioned before, market research is simply seeing what other people are doing and modeling. If you're in the fitness industry and you are in keto or whatever, you probably want to search fit to fat to fit, Brandon Carter, and like the people who are in the keto space, who are crushing it, who are influencers, or maybe you're in the weight loss space for women, you probably want to watch another one of our clients, Lady Boss, right? So, and just see what they're doing, see what content they're posting, see what they're creating, see what stories they're making, see what captions they're using, see how their audience is reacting, see what bio they have, see what the profile picture looks like. Like all these like little tiny things that you might overlook that all go into one single profile. You want to look every single aspect. And then you do that with 1 account, 2 accounts, 3, 5, 10, 20. And what you do, you start seeing patterns. You start seeing patterns of what's working. So you see this account doing it, this account doing it, this account doing it, and they're all big. Chances are it's working for them. So what you should do the same thing. You know, it's rocket science, really. It's like super hard. So then, for example, after you've done the market research correctly, what you do? The second pillar is content. Well, you know what content works already because you did the market research. So that pillar falls down. The third one is consistency. And on Instagram, you got to post every single day, ideally, at least once a day. And what content should you post? You already know what content should you post. And how many times a day should you post? You already know how many times a day should you post because you did the market research. And then the fourth one is networking. Well, you all know your net worth is your network. And on Instagram, it's the same thing. We have right now, we're 500 million people that we're able to reach within our network and people that I have worked with and collaborated with. And that's the reason why we're able to grow so quickly. Well, who are the people that you are going to network with? The people who you just researched. And networking means like if you have to pay for it, you pay for it. That's the distribution play, right? So networking is kind of like the gasoline on the fire. The first three pillars is the foundation, and then you add gasoline, and basically everything blows up. So that's a simple, like the four pillars, simple as that, and you're able to grow extremely, extremely fast. I know people who've gone like from 0 to 10,000 followers in like the first week without having any experience whatsoever by just simply implementing these four things. And the thing is that I've seen the most people is like people will hear me or see me here. They understand. They're like, that makes sense, but they won't do anything with it. I'm like, if you're hearing this or seeing this, like, go implement it. Go do your research, the hashtag research. See what people are using, and just model it. You'll be surprised how fast you grow if you simply do that. And then after you have the traffic, it all comes down to selling. So just make sure you start selling.
I love it. Where can people find out more about you, and what are you most excited about for the rest of the year?
So right now we're mostly excited about, obviously, the agency. We're trying to go into more higher ticket clients that, have $50, $100, $200,000 per month budgets. That's what we're trying to focus on instead of like the lower ticket. But for the people who have smaller budgets, I don't want to ever dismiss those people, because I was there myself, and I also wanted to learn or grow. So that's what the course and our coaching program is there for. The course is $797 right now, and people can get it. It's just go to igboss.com. It's a completely free on-demand training. The webinar, they can go through it. They can learn. They can, even on that training, I show you step-by-step how to make over $160,000 with just 3,000 followers. And I show the entire math on it. So it's a numbers game. Because at the end of the day, people overlook the small numbers, when in reality, the small numbers can turn into big numbers if they just know how to sell, and also sell higher ticket stuff, which is where people, I think, miss the mark the most, because they try to sell a freaking $5 t-shirt when they could be selling a freaking $200 t-shirt if they just craft the message a little bit better. I know, for example, students that have made, they do like jewelry, like the whole thing like you see on Etsy. That you see on Etsy for like $20. He's selling it for $500. And he's making like thousands of dollars. And he's just like doing Instagram stories, videos, posting the little rings, and he's selling every single one for $300 to $500, which is ridiculous. So it's like, and he's like packed, like he's getting orders from all over the world, like from Brazil, like all over the world. So, it's one of those things that people can start learning very easily. Again, it's igboss.com. And that's where you can learn more. And yeah, or you can just search me, Josue Pena, on Instagram, YouTube. We have content all over the place to help people grow and monetize their brand, business, and influence. So yeah, that's what we do.
Thanks so much for coming on. This was great, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Sure thing, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. Did you enjoy this content? If so, click like, leave us a comment, and subscribe to our channel so we can continue bringing you great content all about hiring.